In my analysis of Black Country Rock, I conjecture that the track serves as an invitation to the album The Man Who Sold the World, to a unique new space that Bowie is going to explore. But he cautions us that it isn't for everyone, and that some say the view is crazy, warning us that it is mad to get into these places. If we are still willing to come along for the ride, it means that we must be prepared to face madness. All the Madmen takes us into the realm of the crazy people. Again, Bowie is far from being the first to take this trip. There were always those who romanticized the insane, and in the modern age, when rationality and science reign supreme, madness is perceived as a form of rebellion against it. Some believe that rationality and science, which attempt to portray the universe in exact mathematical terms, are suppressing the spiritual sides of human existence and leading us on a path that robs humanity of its soul. And for the latter, the mad people represent a closer link to reality, one that isn't twisted by rational concepts. So while science attempts to find the causes of insanity and cure it, there were those who actually saw science as a disease that we must be cured from. This battle reached its apex in the 1950s, when the science of psychology was at the height of its renown and presumed to have a cure for every mental problem. It was part and parcel of the stifling conformism of those years. Anyone who was slightly deviated from the norm was seen to have a mental disorder and sent to be examined by psychiatrists, who prescribed cures such as shock treatments and lobotomies. For those who thought there was something wrong with the scientific way, this of course seemed like the worst form of oppression, and their reactions, naturally, were equally extreme. One of the most extreme examples to the latter was Carl Solomon, an intellectual prodigy who was expected to become a brilliant scientist, but he didn't believe in science. Instead, he believed that the way to connect to the truth is to free oneself from the rational side, so he started to behave erratically and got himself committed to a mental ward, where he demanded to be lobotomized. The doctors, instead, prescribed shock treatments and kept him in the ward. There, he met someone else who had himself willfully committed, a young poet called Allen Ginsberg, who came there in hope to be cured of his homosexuality. Solomon dissuaded Ginsberg from his attempt to conform to normality, and instead helped him find a spiritual path. When Ginsberg was released from the ward, he went to San Francisco to try and make it as a poet, and eventually broke through with a poem that was dedicated to Solomon. Howl, the poem that effectively kick-started the beatnik era in poetry, is a damning portrayal of contemporary society, accusing it of being a technocratic, industrial, militaristic, capitalistic system that drives its best minds to madness and destroys their soul. It also offers a way to salvation from it, and it is Carl Solomon's way, passing through madness to destroy the logic imposed on your brain by this society, and liberating the soul. This became one of the myths that the beatniks bequeathed to the counterculture of the 60s. The beatniks regarded Western society as an oppressive society that uses psychiatry to subjugate the spirituality of its citizens, and aspired to break free from it. They indicated several techniques to do so, one of them being to commit oneself to a loony bin, mingle with mad people, get some electric shocks to the brain, and find the joy that society is trying to deny. The myth was still around in 1970, when Bowie wrote his own version of it in All the Madmen. But Bowie was no stranger to insanity himself, coming face to face with it through his half-brother Terry, and he knew it isn't that romantic. His record, as usual, carves the subject with a new kind of knife.
Day after day, they send my friends away to mansions cold and grey, to the far side of town, where the thin men stalk the streets, while the sane stay underground.
The singer is expressing one of the main tenets of the beatnik philosophy. The ones who are truly insane are not those locked in madhouses, but actually the normal people, those who lead their grey lives and go on a daily routine of work and home. They think that they are sane, but actually they are letting themselves be programmed by a system that uses them for its own means, and prevents them from achieving true happiness. In his ironic tongue, the singer uses the same terms usually used to talk about the insane to talk about the normal. They don't go to their homes, they are being sent to their homes and factories. And in this reversed picture, the truly sane are naturally those who live underground, those who refuse to be part of this system.
Day after day, they tell me I can go. They tell me I can blow to the far side of town, where it's pointless to be high, 'cause it's such a long way down.
The hero, we begin to realize, is hospitalized in a mental ward, but he isn't held there forcibly. The doctors tell him he is sane and want to send him back to the world of so-called normality. But he sees no point in being part of this world, because you cannot reach a high in it, and if you occasionally do, the disparity between that and the rest of your life is so great that it makes you feel even worse. He wants constant high, an existence of permanent joy.
So I tell them that I can fly, I will scream, I will break my arm, I will do me harm. Here I stand, foot in hand, talking to my wall. I'm not quite right at all, am I? Don't set me free, I'm as heavy as can be. Just my Librium and me, and my EST makes free. 'Cause I'd rather stay here with all the madmen than perish with the sad men roaming free. And I'd rather play here with all the madmen, but I'm quite content they're all the same as me.
So our hero feigns madness in order to be kept in the ward, where regular doses of drugs and electroshock treatments keep him in a constant high. The reversed picture is complete. While the normal are being sent to their homes, he, the one who is seemingly incarcerated away from home, is actually the one who lives in the place of his choice. And he is convinced that the other patients are doing the same, faking insanity to remain there. Together, they form a secret society, much happier than that of the free people.
Where can the horizon lie when a nation hides its organic minds in a cellar, dark and grim? They must be very dim.
From his presumably higher vantage point, the hero muses about the future of humanity, and concludes that it is very grim. We hear echoes of Ginsberg's Howl here, in the perception that society is destroying its best minds and tags them as crazy. The hero bemoans the dimness of the masses that cannot see what he sees, and let themselves slide towards this dark future. But while he is lost in these thoughts, we hear another voice. A little boy is saying, "He followed me home, Mummy. Can I keep him?" And we realize that something else is going on here. While he thinks he got everybody fooled, while he believes he found the formula for a happy life, while he is busy with lofty thoughts about the state of the world, our hero is slowly, but surely, losing his mind. And so we are reintroduced to the Bowie knife, the knife that cuts both sides of a debate. Bowie accepts the counterculture's claim that there is something insane about conformed society, but he rejects the solution it proposes. The beatnik myth of finding happiness through madness is also wrong, and Bowie's attack is aimed at the counterculture as well. The hero thinks everything's perfect with his life, and doesn't realize that the drugs and ESTs have turned him into a zombie, a mad dog who roams the streets and wanders into people's homes. We need the unbiased eye of a little boy to see the truth.
Day after day, they take some brain away, then turn my face around to the far side of town and tell me that it's real, then ask me how I feel. concentrate on me. Give me some good old lobotomy. 'Cause I found a stake here with all the madmen. And perished when the sad men blow me free. And I'd rather play here with all the madmen. For I'm quite content they're all the same as me.
His condition is slowly being revealed. He keeps on repeating his same mantras, but we see that he is no longer the self-assured person he was in the first verse. After the treatment gradually ate at his brain, he lost his ability to function. It is no longer someone feigning madness that is speaking. It is someone who is simply mad. He thought he was saving his mind and soul from being destroyed by the system, but actually, he was only destroying them faster. And that is how the story ends. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. Ouvre le chien, in French, means open the dog. Bowie confirmed years later that the inspiration for this line is Un Chien Andalou, the famous 1929 surrealistic short movie. The film, made by Luis Buñuel and Salvador Dalí, attempts to represent the crazy and irrational world of dreams, and it begins with an eye being cut open, as if inviting us to go into the brain. Coming at the end of this record, the line seems to represent the moment when our hero has opened the dog and stepped inside it, inside the world of pure insanity. He thought he was the sane one, but it turns out that he was the zane one. That is, zany. This, Bowie tells us, is where these far-out countercultural ideas lead to.